Hello. My name is Louisa Tandy and I am just doing a review on the new Colin Bowie combs. Now, some of you might know that I worked with Simpsons to produce their Brewmaster range. They took all the things that I didn't like about combs, all the things that I did like about combs and what I wanted a comb to do, and they put them together. We came up with a range of 3 combs, currently 3 combs. Hoping to add to the range soon. There's a finishing comb, a preparation comb, and then there's a dematting comb. But I saw Colin do one of his adverts, one of his blogs on the curved comb, and I was really intrigued to find what all the fuss was about and how the simple idea of just bending a comb into a curve, how that could benefit a groomer in the salon. So thought it might be a little bit gimmicky to begin with, but really wanted to give them a go. So, like I said, I've been putting them through their paces of a week, and I must admit that they're quite a good idea, really. I've been using them mainly on heads, actually, not so much on the bodies and the legs. They're quite handy, I suppose, for putting in like, the reangulation on the back leg, and perhaps putting in the angulation on the front of the leg, and those kind of areas as well. But yeah, heads is where I've actually found them to be the most benefit. So the big one, obviously, for bigger heads, poodles, top lots, older sheepdogs, things like that. But also found them on really handy for Bichons, because obviously the Bichons have quite a large head, and I always seem to struggle trying to get all the head combed out properly when I come to do a Bichon. When I always seem to get quite a nice shake on the table, and as soon as they've shaken their head, or I put them on the floor, then I have one look at them, and you can see areas that are all heavy or misshapen, or it's it's uneven on one side, or I've missed bits of hair that they managed to shake out. And I have found that using a curved comb, because you can take out so much more hair as you comb out, that you can actually get a much neater finish a lot quicker. So that's been really good, and they're quite handy for putting in a curved shape as well. You can use it as a guide around the head as well, and you'll see me doing that actually with a resty in the video that we'll be playing in a minute. So that's the curved comb, but the comb that I've been using the most of, funnily enough, is the medium-sized comb. This has been really handy on, tends to do a lot more medium-sized dogs, so Westies, Shih Tzus, Cockapoos, that kind of thing. And I found that the medium-sized comb is definitely better for those. Again, I've been using it to put shape in, really good for combing out, getting right behind that ear, combing all that hair out, so it's really nice and thorough, and you're doing it in one swoop, which is kind of what you always want when you're combing out. If you comb out too many times, and you end up the combing out starts to get a little bit uneven if you overcomb the coat. So sometimes you just want a good old sweep out, and these are really good for that, because it takes hair from the top of the head right the way around the side to the underneath of the chin. It does it all in one fell go. So very good for the heads is the medium comb. And then the smaller comb, which is actually much finer than the medium or the larger comb, was really good for doing muzzles actually. So because the hair around the muzzle is much finer, then you need a finer comb to comb that through and to pick up the hair. And the little one does that really well. So you've got a nice round donut shape when you're coming to do things like a Westie or Shih Tzu, Maltese, anything like that. What is quite good actually is if you give the comb a light spray of, I'm not sure if I've got it here, here we go. Excuse me, I've actually been using a bit of hairspray and just lightly spray over the comb, and you can actually then use that to lift up the hair around the muzzle, and that just makes it stick up a little bit. And because you're spraying the comb, not the face, you're not going to worry about getting it in the eyes or getting it over the nose or the mouth, which would make it uncomfortable for the dog. So yeah, so the little comb is really good as well. Also I found that the medium comb is quite good for doing cocker ears. When you're combing down the ear, you can actually use it to kind of put the bevel on the bottom of the cocker's ear, both that way and that way. So that's really handy as well. So for ears as well as heads. poodle ears, anything that has long ears, cockapoo ears, anything like that, really, really handy. So if you're going to get a set, then definitely have a play around with them and try them different things. Feet, actually, especially on cockapoo feet, when you kind of use a comb, if you're going to use like a straight comb, then quite often you have to go down here, then you have to go down the side and side to kind of comb it all out. Whereas when you're using a curved comb, you see it kind of catches the sides as well, so it's quite good for combing that out in one go. So that's really good as well. So do play around with them on different things, tails and so on, and you'll find that they're actually quite beneficial. So I hope you found that the review has been helpful and that the video was handy as well. I'll definitely say that they are worth buying, definitely worth buying more than one type. Each comb has a different job and produces a different finish, so you should have a variety of different combs to your disposal when you're grooming, just the same as you have different scissors that produce different finishes, then your combs do the same thing. Value for money, comfortable to hold, they're anti-static, they're non-slip as well, they're nice and easy to pick up from the table, there's a variety of different colours. Not quite sure what the hole in the end is for. I was trying to figure that out. Somebody asked me that the other day, I'm not quite sure why. But yeah, anyway, the powder coating seems to be nice, and yeah, they're a good comb. They've survived being dropped on the floor pretty much. Just a little tip, if you do drop your comb on the floor, then use another comb to, this one has actually been dropped, and I don't know whether you can see, but the end tie is actually bent towards the next tie. And if you don't straighten those out, what happens eventually is you'll end up with 2 or 3 ties actually becoming really quite bent together, and it snags on the hair. So use another comb. Take your comb, slip it in underneath the bent tooth, and just very gently lever that tooth up. You might need to do the same with the second tooth down, because that might have bent as well. Just a bit of an even up, and that just kind of keeps the ends of your comb in good condition, and it just stops your comb from then being uneven when you comb through the coat. So yes, the Colin Bowie combs, I think they're a good addition to your collection.